Great players usually have moves that people associate with them. It may be because of its flashiness, the power involved, or just the ridiculous number of. Here, we rank the top 10 signature moves of all time. So before we get started, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for our future updates. Number 10. LeBron James chase down blocks. We kick things off with the king and his routine chase down blocks. It's kind of ridiculous how often he manages to do it, and it's not something that started just recently. Bron's been barreling down the court to block shots in transition since his first stint with the Cavs. The Cavs back then used to even keep track of how many times he did it during the season. Whenever a player is on the fast break against a team LeBron is on, they simply cannot afford to be casual laying it in. You normally wouldn't think a 6'8" guy can run down the court so quickly, but LeBron is a freak athlete and closes in before his opponents even realize it. Number 9. George Gervin's finger roll. An aesthetically pleasing shot unlike any other perhaps. The finger roll layup was the bread and butter of George Gervin's game. One of the greatest scorers of his era, Gervin was nicknamed the Iceman for his cool demeanor on the court and also for apparently not sweating during games. The finger roll isn't an easy shot to master, but once done, it's a very difficult shot to stop. The main purpose behind the finger roll is to flick the ball over an outstretched defender and using the spin to lay it in off the backboard. Number 8. Manu Ginobili's Euro step. We see so many players use the Euro step nowadays, including Dwayne Wade, Harden, and Russell Westbrook. But it was really Manu Ginobili who popularized the move in the NBA. The Euro step basically involves the player taking a step in one direction and then swiftly taking the second one the other way. It makes defenders think they're in a position to either get a charge or contest the shot, but a split second later the player goes the other way for an easy score. Throughout Ginobili's career with the San Antonio Spurs, he's been the maverick on the team. For much of the 2000s, when the Spurs played their boring methodical style of basketball, Manu was the one who seemed to improvise on the fly and get people off their seats. The Euro step was his go-to move, and he used his quickness to execute it to perfection. The Euro step does, however, go right to the edge of a traveling violation, and it needs to be done perfectly to avoid getting called for traveling. Number 7. Tim Duncan's bank shot. There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Tim Duncan hitting that boring bank shot again and again and again. Duncan's signature bank shot probably describes his career in a nutshell. It wasn't really flashy or physically imposing. It was all about the fundamentals for the big fundamental. Duncan had the basics of the game all figured out for a big man. He could score in the post with an array of moves and had a reliable mid-range jumper to boot. The common denominator in all of the moves was that he'd hit them off the backboard. Number 6. Allen Iverson's crossover. Pound for pound, the greatest scorer in NBA history. His scoring average of 26.7 ppg ranks 6th all-time, which is crazy for a guy who's just about 6 feet tall. What Iverson had going for him were his quickness and ball-handling abilities. He had plenty of offensive moves in his arsenal, like the step-back fadeaway, but he is remembered for those amazing crossovers. Iverson often used what's called the double crossover. It starts off like a normal crossover, but instead of, for example, faking left and then going right, he'd instead switch it back to his left at the end of the move, thereby leaving the defender completely flat-footed. If the NBA kept some statistic regarding ankle breakers, Iverson might well be at the top of the list. The unfortunate part for defenders was that they knew it was coming, but they couldn't do a thing about it. Number 5. Shaq's Black Tornado. Nicknamed the Black Tornado by the man himself, the move is basically Shaq being the most dominant physical specimen since Wilt Chamberlain in NBA history. There was practically no way of stopping this maneuver apart from fouling the big fella. More well known as the drop step, Shaq's unique physical attributes made it very difficult for anyone to stop it. He was too powerful and, crucially, for such a large human being, extremely nimble. Someone would dump the ball down low to Shaq, who'd just back down any defender, spin, and then dunk over them. It really didn't matter who was guarding him in the post, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Ben Wallace, Dikembe Mutombo, and so on, none of them could stop it. Number 4. Dirk Nowitzki's one-legged fadeaway. It's hard to guard a 7-footer who can shoot from anywhere, and it gets much harder when that guy can hit the fadeaway from anywhere. Dirk's one-legged fadeaway is one of the most iconic shots in the modern NBA. Dirk was never the most athletic guy and hence needed to find a way to get separation from his defender, and he says that is why he developed that shot. Being over 7 feet tall and then leaning back gave him enough separation from his defender, and he was able to get the shot off easily. Number 3. Wilt and Jordans fadeaway. Two of the greatest scorers we've ever seen. Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain are currently first and second in PPG average in NBA history, and the fadeaway was one of the big reasons behind their success. While Wilt is often regarded as this physical specimen, who was just overpowering people, he was an incredibly skilled big man. He had a terrific fadeaway jump shot, which many of his old rivals considered his best move. Despite standing at 7'2", Chamberlain executed that fadeaway at will, even hitting it from mid-range. His height made the shot almost unguardable. Now we get to Mike. Early on in his career, Jordan was the freak athlete the NBA hadn't seen in ages, but as the seasons went by, he developed the fadeaway which he is so well known for now. For most of the second half of his career, the fadeaway was Jordan's go-to move, and often, it really didn't matter how well he was being guarded, he'd hit it anyway. Number 2. Hakeem Olajuwon's Dream Shake. A personal favorite of mine, the Dream Shake is just amazing to watch. It is basically a combination of fakes and spin moves that Olajuwon perfected over the years, which left many defenders bamboozled when he executed it. Hakeem was really a guard stuck in a center's body. His footwork for a big man was remarkable, and he used that advantage over other bigs to clown them in the post. Number 1. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's Skyhook. The single most unstoppable, almost, move in NBA history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar used the skyhook to devastating effect during his 20 years in the league. Virtually unblockable, the skyhook enabled Jabbar to reach the top of the scoring charts in NBA history. Almost fittingly, the basket he scored to surpass Wilt Chamberlain's then record was with his signature move. A lot of players used the hook shot, but Kareem's combination of size and technique was second to none. Standing at 7'2", with a 7'5" wingspan, he shot it at quite a distance from the defender, and unlike some of the other bigs, Jabbar was more than capable of hitting it from mid-range. That brings us to the end of this video. If you like it, please smash the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. If you have further questions, feel free to comment down below. See you in the next video.